on, 49 faithful, let's get it.
Because it's 49er mine.
We gotta do this one time for the Empire.
It's 49er mine. It's 49er mine.
We gotta get that brick by brick done quick.
49er mine.
Yeah, yo, we can't listen to them haters, man.
49er mine.
We from the Bay.
49er mine.
We them San Francisco 49ers.
49er mine.
We got that red and gold blood inside us.
49er mine.
Oh yeah, freak out, yeah, I'm looking right into the video scope, and this is Macho Man, #1 Macho Man impersonator, past, present, future, yeah, and I'm here to tell you, you are watching 49er Minded with Bashar, yeah, the cream of the crop, dig it?
Sorry about that, guys. You know what I did? I made them stay. Thanks for calling me out on that, Dave. I had the audio muted on purpose when the intro was rolling, so you guys probably couldn't hear me, but now you guys hear me. So what I was basically saying was, yeah, tough loss, tough game, but I just want to say what's up to some people in the chat really quick before we get started. Ryan Gutierrez, what's up? He says, what the shit happened or what the hell happened? Yeah, you tell me, man. Elias Lopez in the chat, how's it going, bro? Says, what's up? Kathy Edmondson, who's the wife of my guest who's coming up. And I hope you can hear now. I'm assuming you guys can hear now because I was muted at one point. And okay, it looks like you guys can hear me. Good. And hey, let me. My guest right now is a great guest. He's been on here once. He kind of came on here last minute. And this is kind of last minute too, but he's on here now. It's David Edmondson from Real Talk Niner Talk. And he's got a lot of knowledge, and I'm going to bring him on right now to join us. So here we go. What's up, David? Thanks for helping me out with the audio, man. I didn't know that you guys couldn't hear me. I wasn't looking at the screen. Wasn't looking at the mute thing.
No problem. This is a tough one to swallow. Usually we have 2 days to overcome it. Now we got to rest on this an entire week, so it makes it rough. And also what makes it hurt is our loss put the Dallas Cowboys into the playoffs officially.
Yeah, that's not – whenever we do anything that helps the Cowboys, that is not good.
No, never is.
Now, on the flip side, before we get into the Titans game, we are playing the Texans coming up, which should be an easy game. But, with this Jekyll and Hyde team of ours, led by our Jekyll and Hyde quarterback, I wouldn't say, hey, go to Vegas and place $500 on the game. No. Definitely do not do that.
I wouldn't do that all season. I didn't even advise that against the Falcons. So.
Oh my gosh. Oh man. So yeah. So when the game started off, it was, the scripted plays look good, right? I mean,
yes. Couldn't have asked for anything better. Just drove down the field and looked like it was going to be easy. And even into the second drive, it looked easy until
Yeah. So on the first drive, what happened? I'm just looking at the scoring summary, and Jimmy got off a couple of short passes. One of them was to Debo, and then Jeff Wilson was getting going in the running game. Um, then later we had it. Go ahead.
We were crossing them up.
Yeah.
Perfectly scripted.
We gave Debo the ball. He got a nice little 8-yard run. Then later it's a 17-yard pass to Brandon Ayuk, which was really nice. I like that play a lot. Yes. I was hyped up for Ayuk. I love it when Ayuk gets the ball and he has room to run. And
and the routes he runs are so concise. It's almost impossible not to get him the ball at least a couple times a game.
Yeah, I think I don't know why Ayuk doesn't get at least 4 to 5 catches a game. I think it's a travesty. I'd love to see him. I think he's definitely capable of stretching the field for some deep plays down the field. That's another story with this team that we don't do that type of stuff.
Something to look forward to next season, perhaps.
But on the first drive, of course, then later we threw it to Jimmy threw it to Debo Samuel and gets tackled at the one. It looked like it was going to be a touchdown. Nice rack yardage, or I'd say rack. I think John Madden used to say rack, run after the catch. Now people say yak. A bit more old school than other people, but I'll still say yak from time to time. Next Jeff Wilson punches it in. I'm like, okay, cool. Hey, extra points good. We're up 8-0. And, then what's it called? The Titans get the ball. They punt the ball away because our defense is looking great right off the bat.
Right.
We sacked Tannehill. Was it Ibukam? What was it that we have this little group? What's that?
He had a good game tonight.
He did. I expected us to do. I mean, not that the defense had its worst game, but early on, I was expecting some great things from the defense. I was hoping to see some interceptions because, with the injuries on the Titans' offensive line, I just thought we were just going to go crazy with the D-line. Now, the D-line looked really, really good at times, but it just, with freaking A.J. Brown in the mix, it did not help our cause.
That's what scared me when it was announced he was going to play, because he is a physical receiver. And anytime there's a 50-50 ball or a ball where he can get his back turned in front of the defender, he's going to win 90% of those balls.
Yeah, and I know before the game I was telling people like, hey, wow, watch out, A.J. Brown's going to play. People were like, oh, no, he won't be the same. He's coming off an injury, and it's like our luck whenever – whenever we play certain teams, if we're playing the Seahawks or whoever, and we're thinking we're going to have it, a little easy or whatever, next thing you know, so-and-so gets activated and it's not going to be as easy as we thought it was. And lo and behold, that person ends up killing us.
Exactly why I didn't say anything.
Oh, man. And the thing is though, people were saying that, oh, don't worry, because Tannehill's terrible. He's a horrible quarterback, and he's playing his worst football now, so we don't have anything to worry about, is what people were telling me. But I still was worried because, when you got Josh Norman back there at cornerback and, Ambry Thomas, who's basically learning on the fly. This is like, I was just telling people, this is like the early part of the season for Ambry Thomas. This is like week 3 for him.
Yeah, game 3. Yeah. But I tell people, Tannehill's stats are skewered. Yeah, Henry's out, but he is a good quarterback. The thing was, he was working with their 4th and 5th receivers all year, and nobody's going to fear them. That's why they had lost 4 straight. Makes a big difference when you have 2 quality receivers like Jones just taking up space, letting the others work, and then you have Brown, who did a number on us tonight.
So before the season started, I'm pretty sure I had it on one of my videos. I don't think it was on another person's video where I was collabing with them. I don't remember what video it was, but people are asking me what I thought the toughest game would be this season. Now, this is me assuming that we were going to be a pretty good team. I wasn't saying Super Bowl, but people were saying during camp that this team, has depth comparable to our Super Bowl roster, and said, hey, expect a really good season, but didn't necessarily turn out that way as we've seen this season, so yeah. But I was saying this was the game I was saying watch out for. That's what I was saying basically.
Right. I called this one a loss when I saw this schedule. I figured it was going to be no way we were going to be able to turn around, even though Atlanta is Atlanta. I didn't think we were going to be able to turn around, fly back to the East Coast on short days rest, and beat this team, not the way they were stacked earlier this season.
Yeah, and obviously I expected this Titans team going into this game to be a lot better than what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I thought it was going to be easy because things changed, but I just thought, I still thought regardless it was going to be a tough game because it's on the East Coast in a short week.
Right.
Yeah. So the wonderful drive happened afterwards when we got the ball. Jeff Wilson got a 9-yard run. Jimmy was throwing his little short passes, and a big play from Jimmy Garoppolo to Kyle Juszczyk. Do you remember that one?
I do. That was
41
very
yards.
nicely set up. Very nicely set up.
Yeah, and then soon after, a couple plays later, Jimmy threw a 16-yard pass to Kittle, and we were in the end zone at the what yard line? What were we at? I think it was like
3.
Second and goal at the Tennessee 8 was what it was. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Jimmy drops back to pass, and we all know intended for Kittle, but yet went straight to Janoris Jenkins. So
it's not like he didn't have time. He had time. If he had waited a half second later, Dwelly was open, wide open. But of course, he only has 2 receivers he normally throws to. If it's not going to Debo, it's going to Kittle, and everybody knows that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this season we did it a little bit more where we were throwing to Kittle in the end zone, which is like, okay, cool. Which trying to make him a little bit more of a red zone target, even though I don't think we do it enough. But it's at the end of the day, it's just, I don't know. Jimmy just makes things too obvious. I'm not here to start a Jimmy G bash session and talk bad about the game, berate the guy, but I mean, this game really had me pissed off. I mean, I was just, I'm surprised I'm so calm, cool, and collective right now because earlier had you heard me, I'm sending voice messages to my friends in their little chat group, and my little text group. This is one that you didn't hear, by the way, David. I went off, man. I just, not in the group that you're in, but I went pretty crazy because one guy kept defending Jimmy and backing Jimmy. And I just lost it. I lost my mind.
You can't. You have to laugh at this point of the season. I'm going to take a phrase from Stephen A. Smith where he describes the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm just going to replace it with Jimmy Garoppolo. He is an accident waiting to happen. All you have to do is just wait. Oh, he had a great overtime game against Cincinnati. Just wait. Oh, he did well against Atlanta. He was virtually perfect. Just wait. Some way, somehow, he will screw it up. And unfortunately, that came tonight.
Yeah, I've been telling people the past 3 weeks, like I know Jimmy, we won games and Jimmy's the quarterback, but it's not like he's playing lights out and just turned over a new leaf and looks like this all-pro elite quarterback, and we're just like, wow, we're going to be primed and ready for the playoffs and to go on a Super Bowl run. For whatever reason, some people were saying, hey, this and this might happen and this might happen. And once we get to the Super Bowl, I honestly think we can beat these teams and do this. And I'm thinking, okay, realistically, if we went to the playoffs, I was thinking, okay, if we win a game, I'd be like, okay, cool.
Right.
But I wouldn't expect much after that. Let me just say what's up to a couple. Well, Ryan Gutierrez, a good buddy of mine, was asking me if I was going to the last game of the year. I don't know if I am, man. If I do go, I'll let you know. But then he said Josh Norman. He said Josh Norman's a linebacker playing corner. It almost seems like it.
No, he's not even a linebacker playing corner because those guys can actually tackle. Norman's suspect about tackling.
All Norman really has going to him for right now is the peanut punch. That's about it.
Right.
But Young Creeper, good old Roberto says, "What's up, Ashar?" He says Jimmy G lost us a game. Hey, I'm not going to argue with you about that one. I'm not going to argue with you.
Nope.
Yeah, so let
me
me just.
What this reminds me of?
Go ahead.
This reminds me of Alex Smith's last season in Kansas City. This is perfectly set up. They have him in there a little bit, but he basically Trey Lance sits and learns, and it was Alex Smith's team to mess up. They lost in the playoffs. The next year is replaced. It's an exact replica there, and during that year, Mahomes was tearing up the Chiefs' defense in practice. Lance is doing the same thing now.
Exactly. That's what Matt Miyoko put out on his podcast recently. I had uploaded it on my Twitter. I uploaded it on here. he was talking with Laura Britt on their podcast, and he's basically saying that he heard from some guy on the team that Lance is looking really, really good. And then Fred Warner solidified everything he heard from whoever up top in the organization. Fred Warner basically told Miyoko, Trey Lance is carving up the first team defense right now in practice. And the word was, I didn't know it was that bad, but apparently when Lance had injured part of his finger in that Raider preseason game, and supposedly it had lingered all the way up to like 4 weeks ago. And 4 weeks ago, he finally has it 100% healed, and he just looks like a totally different person out there in the practice field.
Which explains why he had all of those high throws early on when he was in games. I mean, Russell Wilson came from a finger injury. He still hasn't recovered. It's just not the same. It takes time.
Without that, I mean, and I was willing, honestly, this past couple of weeks, I was like, okay, I tempered down my whole Trey Lance argument of, hey, bring him in, play him, start him, because I was like, okay, look, I see the plan. I see what the Niners are trying to do. I see what Shanahan has in mind. We're going to play Jimmy till the wheels fall off this year and try to get whatever trade value we can. And I was thinking, okay, second rounder, third rounder at the worst. Maybe if you're lucky, there's that team that gives you a first rounder. But after games like this, the whole hopes for trade value don't really do you too well, and that's where I'm sitting right now.
Yeah, I said from the beginning, I don't see any way we get a first rounder for him. No.
I mean, our saving grace. The one thing I was thinking a few weeks ago, maybe if we're lucky, we get a first rounder. Is just that we lucked out a bit in terms of the quarterback class, just falling backwards this year in the NCAA.
And that helps.
There was major expectations for some of these quarterbacks, and they were all supposed to be first round picks, and they don't even look like only one guy's going to be drafted in the first round. I think maybe two, if you're lucky. Yeah. So we're going to carry on to what happened in the second quarter. Fast forward here a little bit. Just going to give you a little drive summary. Jimmy threw an 11-yard pass to Jeff Wilson, which was nice. 7-yard run by Jeff Wilson later. After that, 5-yard run. Wilson was looking pretty good at one point. And a little further ahead, Jimmy's just dinking and dunking away and, throws an 11-yard pass to Debo. And we get into field goal. Okay, there was a 15-yard penalty that stopped us at one point. But then later, we had a 6-yard pass. Maybe had we not gotten that penalty, we'd have been closer range to get a touchdown, but we messed it up and ended up being 3rd and 26, so we kicked the field goal.
And Debo saved us that drive because that was supposed to be a loss. He made a man miss and got 6 yards and saved it for Gould to get that field goal.
Yeah, he did. Let me say what's up to a couple of people who just trickled in. CG Ruthless Sports, what's up? Definitely check out his channel. He's a 49er content creator. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Let me see what Ryan has to say. I know he's very critical of the team. He says, Jimmy played bad. He didn't get us tied on a 90-yard plus drive. He did get us tied on a 90-plus yard drive. Yeah, on that end, he did good. And he said the defense sucked. Now, the defense did suck at times when A.J. Brown got going.
Think about this. If we had put him away in the first play, on the first half, like we should have been 21-0, that drive isn't necessary.
Yeah. I mean, because in the first half, I'm looking at the drive summaries, and it's literally for the Tennessee Titans just punt. I mean,
I think they had like 55 yards total offense in the first half.
Mm-hmm. And now when our defense is playing and it's on point, I mean, why can't our offense take advantage of that? I do not understand, and it literally frustrates the living daylights out of me.
Well, we did have that stupid penalty by Williams, but it's still inconsistent quarterback play. I mean, let's talk about that wheel route where Juice was wide open, and he completely whiffed on that. That was another 7-point squandered. I mean, yeah. you can't miss opportunities like that. Uh-oh.
My bad. I got this habit of muting myself. You know what? I'm not using my. You know what the problem is? I'm not using my mouse today. I couldn't find my mouse, so I'm using the trackpad. Oh, and with the trackpad, when I click unmute, sometimes I don't click it hard enough, and boom, that's a problem. That's so funny. On that note, let me just say what's up to a couple people who trickled in here because I missed a few other people. Tommy Huxley says Jimmy lost us this game. He's oh my gosh, he's as consistent as an erection of a cocaine addict. Oh my gosh, man. I'm not even gonna get into that. Cardinal Rule, what's up, man? He is a Arizona Cardinal content creator. Really cool guy, actually. I know he's from the enemy side over in Arizona, but he says happy holidays, Bashar. Get some folks in the chat. I didn't put up any Christmas decorations in here. On my little backdrop. I should have put something up. My mistake. But Merry Christmas to all. I know it's tomorrow's Christmas Eve, and and to others who are not celebrating Christmas, happy holidays. Definitely.
I can't consider them an enemy until they've actually won a Super Bowl ring.
Oh, the trash talk starts.
The Rams, you could barely say they're a rival. That was a St. Louis Rams. The LA Rams haven't produced anything.
But if you go in history, though, I mean, they're the long-time original rival of the 49ers, though. Right. Going way, way back. I mean, so you can definitely put that. You're just being mean.
Yeah, I am.
Don Suave, what's up, though? A really good friend of mine says, what up, BZ? See who else is in here really quick before we get going and talk about the rest of the game. We got Pie-Nor. I don't know what he means by that little symbol there.
He just came from the Twitter chats.
Yeah, Twitter had like 80 or 100 people in there. And the question on the Twitter space was, I was in there for like 10, 15 minutes. The question was like, should Jimmy G be in the Hall of Fame? And I just laughed hysterically.
That's clickbait.
Hell, that was total clickbait. Oh my God. Woo. But back to defense. I mean, defense played excellent. I thought they played pretty damn good in the first half. Obviously, if it's 10-0, if Tennessee's not putting up any points, we should have put up more points than 10 points in the first half. Exactly. I think the second half was a bit disappointing. When you get that first drive and you get that touchdown, and then you get a field goal later.
That's because they basically abandoned the run. Mm-hmm. We had stuffed the run up into that point, and they had nothing to lose. Just use A.J. Brown. It worked. It worked to perfection. It didn't matter who was on him, whether Thomas was on him, whether Norman was on him. He was catching passes in the middle against Ward. He just beat everybody pretty much.
He was beating us up, and it wasn't fun. And, as much as I want to blame our, subpar corners from time to time, part of me tells me, well, this guy's super talented and he's really, really good. And, maybe if we had some, Mosley playing or another, better cornerback on the other side, maybe we could have, tempered off his production a little bit. But
except for that one 50-50 ball that he lost, I thought Thomas actually had a pretty good game.
I thought so too.
He had 2 to 3 passes defended against Brown.
That one in the end zone, right, where they threw. Right. Embry looked all confident and cocky on there. I was like, okay. For a split second, I was like, oh, maybe he's coming into his own,
Right. It's just that 50-50 ball. I didn't see him winning that. First of all, they were both hand checking. He got some distance, and then Embry tried to make it up. By then, Brown was already in the air with that ball. There was no chance. I don't think any of our corners could have beaten him on that 50-50 ball.
Yeah. Exactly, but I am as much as people have been critical about Ambry Thomas. I am glad that he's actually getting some run right now. I think it's only better for his development, and I wish honestly, Diamador Lenore was out there as well. Have both of them out there. Why not?
That would have been a good combination, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so Pine says one more thing. We're as much as I don't want to talk about Jimmy, I'm sorry. We're going to be talking about him. And for those of you who can't handle it, can't stomach it, trust me, this is the rated G version of me right now. Yes. This is the rated. If you had heard me blow up on my phone in my chat groups, I can play my voice recordings off of my cell phone right now. If you want to hear the real Bashar, 49er minded, and be mean and talk bad about Jimmy and be unfair about Jimmy, oh, it's here. And if you want to hear it, just type it in the chat because I'll play it. Because this is not acceptable. I'm sorry, it's not acceptable.
It's not.
When you're paying a quarterback this much money, and then you still have fans say, "No, Jimmy G is the truth. Jimmy G is the truth."
I don't know what other evidence you need. It's still the same mistakes. The throwing into coverage in the end zone for one interception, the not looking for the linebacker who nearly came up with an interception, another overthrow for an interception. It's the same thing over and over again, year after year. What other evidence do you need? It's not that he's a bad person. He might not even entirely suck compared to half the quarterbacks out there, but he can't lead us to the promised land. He just can't. It's time to move on.
Yep, exactly. So Pinor says, Bashar, thank you for always being honest about Jimmy. Some other people never wanted to shit on him because they were either too stupid or they were lying about the truth. Hey, man, I try my best. I mean, I only go off of what I see on the field. I mean, so every once in a blue moon, I watch the games with some of my relatives who they have no idea what a football was. You know, they grew up in the Middle East almost their entire lives, and then they'll see a play or two of Jimmy G doing something ridiculously stupid, and they're cussing and saying, "Look how dumb he is." Well, that was stupid. Oh, that was stupid. And these people don't even know anything about football, and they're saying that was stupid. That was dumb. That's all you need to hear about Jimmy. I'm sorry, he's not it. He's not the man. He's not the guy. I don't care if you saw him and you see him in that uniform and like, oh wow, he just looks like he could be a Hall of Fame quarterback when you first glance at him. It's a mirage. I'm sorry. It's
so
fool's
did
gold.
Jamarcus Russell. We know where that went.
Oh, wait. What about Jamarcus Russell?
I said he looked like a quarterback too, and we know what happened to him.
I don't know. But with Jamarcus Russell, honestly, to me, he never looked like a quarterback. He just had this big, huge body, and it just looked weird out there. It just didn't look right. But one of my friends was hyping up Jamarcus Russell big time coming out of college, and he's a Titans fan. He was just like, oh, man, when you see because he watched him at LSU, and he was just going on and on about Jamarcus Russell being this beast coming out of LSU, and I was like, damn, really? Wow. Oh,
yeah, that never transferred. My wife actually hates football, and she saw Jimmy G during a game and said he was terrible.
Trust me, if you're the things that come out of certain people's mouths when they're watching football with me from time to time, yeah, it's clear as day. So certain things are obvious, or just obvious. Waruna, what's up, Waruna from All 49ers SI? He's on the Grant Cohn show from time to time. Good guy. He's been on here a couple times. Says this team is as good as Jimmy G, 8-7. Yeah, you could say that. And
yeah, I'm gonna agree with that.
Pinor says Jimmy is a bad person for telling that 8-year-old kid to fuck off after asking for an autograph. He's a piece of shit all off the field. It's
I didn't hear that story.
It's not on record, but a good buddy of ours, Nick. Well, I'm gonna kind of put on record here. Nick, I don't know if he's watching, but Nick from Nothing But Niners. He's been on the show before. It revealed it in the Twitter Spaces that he was hanging out with this older 49er fan and his son, and it was at one of the team hotels in one of the away games. Could have been Baltimore or Washington, I forgot where, but so Nick always knows where the players are hanging out and what hotels they're at, and if you see Nick's social media, he's always got pictures with all the players. Oh yeah. Yes. And now whenever I see that, I'm jealous. I'm like, dude, I've been in the Bay Area almost all my life, and I barely have any pictures with any Niner players. I got a picture with Dwight Clark and Anthony Dixon. I can't remember who else, but good for him, man. So Nick knows how to meet the players, man. And he was with this kid, an 8-year-old kid, and they saw Jimmy G walking out in the back part of a hotel, and then Nick's telling the guy, hey, go run up to him now. He's like, hey, can I get an autograph? And he said something like "F off." I don't do autographs or something like that. I don't do autographs. F off. Yeah. Wow. And then to make it even to go even further, Nick was like, "You're a fucking douchebag." To Jimmy.
Well, yeah, I would have said the same thing. I just got a brief glimpse of that press conference, and the thing I took away when Jimmy G was interviewed was, "We just got to do better." We.
He can say, "I just got to do better." That'd make a whole lot more sense.
Yeah, at least take responsibility for what you did. He never does.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Kyle's doing a better job of it now, because honestly, I give you guys a lot of credit for watching press conferences. I don't know, with this 49er regime, and not that I hate Kyle or anything like that. I'm okay with the guy, but early this season I was pretty pissed at him because in regards to some of the stupid games that we lost. Yes. I thought we should have won, but my agreement with Kyle is you only replace him if you got somebody better. Now, if you have somebody better, sure, replace him, fire him, bring that person in. But my thing is, I just cannot watch the press conferences. I don't know if it's Kyle, if it's Jimmy, whoever it is. I'm just not into these press conferences. So I give you guys a lot of credit for watching them because I can't do it.
Well, it is hard. It is hard to stomach at times, but
yeah.
David
McNew in the chat's got his popcorn. That must be a good thing. I hope so. It is. I can't think of anything good that we can come out of this loss, but whatever.
Well, let's see. Offensive line did his job. I mean, the 2 sacks that he took was because he took too long to decide any damn thing. I even have to give Tom Compton props there. He did a good job.
We ragged on Compton.
Yes.
On your show, you ragged on him from Real Talk Niner Talk. And real quick, for those guys who don't know who David Edmondson is, Super Dave the OG, I do have his info in the description, the video description. It's got his Twitter. And you can also follow him on Twitter, and you can also watch him on Real Talk Niner Talk. It's a panel of him, Don Niner Style, Will, who's always super opinionated, especially when it comes to Jimmy. Now he calls himself Sirski. A lot of things to say. Jew, you got Jew on there, cool dude. Silverado Kev, who I've had on here before, great guy. He writes for All 49ers SI as well, and really funny guy as well, very knowledgeable. And also the newcomer, who you got? Red Jet? I don't know what her real name is, but she goes by Red Jet on Twitter. Yeah, Red Jet Shell on Twitter. Okay, so she's always on the Twitter Spaces, and Twitter Spaces are pretty crazy these days. And
yes,
but what I was going to say was, you and I bashed the living daylights out of Tom Compton, and hey, in reality, when he stepped in, for the most part, other than that Seahawks game when he gave that stupid safety, for the most part, he has done a pretty good job. I mean, way better than I expected out of him. That's for sure.
I really didn't see any remedy if McGlinchey, a.k.a. Grimace, had gone out, but he has proved me wrong.
Also, Brunskill as well. Brunskill is not doing too bad as well. I racked on Brunskill a bit at one point.
Yeah. Yeah, that right side has actually been solid ever since McGlinchey's been gone. And that's somebody else we could save money from. Unfortunately, we signed him to an extension. God only knows why, but
yeah, it's going to be interesting. But I'm sorry, we're going to punish Jimmy today. Throughout the season, I've been so pissed, especially when a Jimmy fan or Jimmy defender, whatever you want to call it, or 49er fan who defends Jimmy like crazy, whatever you want to label it, will go on and on and on and tell me how the offensive line is so bad, the offensive line is garbage, it's terrible. Jimmy never has enough time to throw. Whenever Jimmy gets sacked, it's always his fault. Oh, the reason why we don't throw deep balls in our offense is because the offensive line is so bad. It's like, I'm sorry, man. When I watch the games, I count 1,000, 2,000, maybe 2.5 or 3 seconds.
You can't blame him for protection today. He's just bad. That's all there is to it.
And I remember back in the day, I think I mentioned this on a previous show, but I'll mention it again. Remember when Jim Everett played us? Remember when we played the Rams in the NFC Championship game? Yes. I believe this was en route to the Bengals game, I believe. Mm-hmm. And then or maybe was it en route to the Bengals game when Jim Everett sacked himself in that playoff game?
I think so.
Yeah. It might have been en route to the Broncos game, but anyways, Jim Everett standing in the pocket against the Niners in the NFC Championship game, and next thing you know, he just flops on the ground. I mean, the way Jimmy does it, it's almost like that because it's like he's got all this time to throw. You can't 2 seconds, 3 seconds, whatever. And next thing you know, Jimmy will like shift to the left or shift to the right into a defender, and boom, get sacked. I've seen it all year long, and it's so frustrating to see as an NFL fan, especially if you're a fan of that particular team, and you want your team to do well. And I don't know. I can only imagine how much Shanahan how pissed off he gets on the sidelines whenever that happens, because it happens week in and week out. It's not like this thing that only happens like, oh yeah, it happened. Well, you know what? Last week it didn't happen because he didn't get sacked.
Right.
Yeah, surprisingly. But other than last week, it's literally happened every game. It's happened every game.
There was a situation where he had time to throw and still nearly threw an interception in the Atlanta game. But when
it went to Wilson, I think, or Hasty.
Mm-hmm. No, it was over the middle. It ended up being one of his 5 incomplete passes. but that it should have been picked. It was right there for the taking. But when a national, I think it was Greg Olson who was doing the commentating.
I heard
When
that.
he's telling you got to get rid of the ball with all that time left. I mean, come on.
I'm surprised it took. I'm surprised it took until this late in the season for an announcer of one of our games to bring that up, because I've seen it all year long. I don't know. It's multiple times he has had time to throw, and it's pathetic. And then sometimes it happen. Did it happen on his interceptions too? I think, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So
he had plenty of time. He just Debo was open. He just overthrew him and threw it behind him.
So Waruna Pereira says last week Brady was pissed after losing the game. What did Jimmy learn sitting behind Brady? Had a quarterback sneak, maybe?
Not a damn thing.
The QB sneak is probably the only thing I can think of that he learned.
Well, he did that once successfully. Let's give him that.
And Pinore's in the chat singing my theme song, just to let you know. Whenever a lot of people do that. Whenever they say this is 49er Mind, they're mimicking my theme song. So
it's catchy.
Apparently it is. I know. And for the record, that is my voice on the theme song, for those of you who weren't
nice.
sure about that. Yeah. Oh, you didn't know that, huh?
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't know that? That's funny. Yeah, the whole thing's my voice. Yep.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Very nice.
All right. So I'm going through the scoring summary, trying to come up with something positive in the second half, but there wasn't too much early on. And was it after that interception that Jimmy threw to Debo? No, he was trying to throw to Debo, and Hooker caught it. And you could just see the freaking who was it? The running back McNichols. You could just see you could sense the momentum shift through his running, because when he ran up the gut, he just exploded out of a cannon. And I was like,
what made it bad is he's the third down back.
I didn't even know who he was. I didn't even know who he was.
I'm trying to remember what team he was on previously, but he's been around a couple years. In fact, let me see if I can look that up.
Yeah, but I mean, again, the moment he gets the ball and explodes up the middle on those few plays after that interception, you could just feel the momentum shift through him alone. And
yes.
Like, great, here comes the momentum shift. And lo and behold, D. Foreman up the middle for 3 yards, touchdown.
And that was what I was worried about, because he gave Pittsburgh hell last week, even though they lost the game.
Oh, he was? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it said on the next drive we turned over on downs. What happened there was 4th and 6. Jimmy Garoppolo pass incomplete, short right to Brandon Ayuk.
And that was again, wide open pass. Yeah. He just whiffed on it again.
That one, oh my gosh, I was so mad when that play happened. That was the point in time in the game, maybe where when I don't know if it's your blood pressure going up or your just face gets hot and you just automatically become mad. It was either that play or the play where he overthrew him, Brandon Ayuk, because that really pissed me off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at this point late in the season, I just have to laugh. Otherwise, you'll just drive yourself nuts. That's why I don't even argue with Jimmy sexuals anymore. It's a moot point. They're never going to see anything for what it really is, and trying to convince them will only drive you nuts.
Yeah, so and lo and behold, on the next drive where so after the touchdown run, I think. Let me just see this really quick. After the touchdown drive, I guess we had sacked. Which play was this? Hang on. I know we sacked Tannehill with Jordan Willis.
Yes, that was a big play, because the game was going to get away from us right then and there.
But actually, right after this was a turning point, though. Right. So I was like, okay, cool. We sacked him with Jordan Wilson. I was hyped up, but right after was that stupid freaking play on 3rd and 23rd, but where they tried, where was it? Samson Ebukam jumped off sides and then they threw 42 yards.
Yes, that was the 50-50 ball.
Yeah, that was what they called that. Like he drew him off sides, right? I believe that was that.
He got him with that hard. He got him with that hard.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then it was just house money there.
And the thing was like you could tell he was doing the hard count. So the one guy kind of jumped, and then It's like, okay, the referee didn't throw a flag, so I'm like, okay, cool, we got a second win. Maybe he didn't cross the neutral zone or whatever. But they freaking jumped the second time, and this time the ref threw the flag. It's like, okay, if you're gonna jump, get to the freaking quarterback, you know. And the line was doing pretty good overall in general, but on this play, it was such a heartbreaker, man. It just was. And Tannehill looked like a freaking elite quarterback on that play, which sucked because our guy never does.
No, and never will.
That's the thing that I noticed on certain teams that we play. Even though certain quarterbacks might be in the same tier as Jimmy, or might be even on a lower tier than Jimmy, I notice every now and then they'll have that confidence to air it out and throw that deep ball down the sidelines, which, again, is something we never do, but other teams do it to us.
That's because they actually have a deep arm. We don't.
Oh, I don't know how many times we're going to keep going with that, but hey.
It's there. It's there.
Oh, man.
People are starting to float around the idea of we're going to beat the Texans anyway. Let the kids start there. I'm nope. Just
so what's your point behind not wanting Lance to play?
It's almost the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Just let Jimmy run its course, because every time he's out there, he's providing more evidence as to why he's not going to be there next season. And you're putting him now with 2 games left to go on the regular season. You're putting him in a position to fail. And we don't want that with the guy we drafted so high with. Just let him continue to learn, let him continue to sit, and learn what not to do when you get out there.
Yeah. And I believe there were a few drives where we punted and they punted. And then later, we finally got that touchdown of Brandon Ayuk, which was nice. And, I was like, okay, cool. That, Jimmy had time to throw in that play, so I was a little worried that he had a little too much time and he was going to sit there and not throw a precise pass. But lo and behold, he did throw it over the middle right there out of the 2-yard line.
But that scared me because of the time we left on the clock. Because I didn't think we were going to get that ball back until late, if at all. We left 3 minutes and 20-some seconds on that clock.
And then later, we didn't try to ice the kicker, right? Bullock. The kicker
we didn't have any timeouts.
Oh, we didn't have any timeouts. That's what it was. Okay. Yeah, and when they were setting up for that field goal, I was like, oh great, it just seems like every team's kicker is money against us in those clutch situations. And was that the field goal, I believe, that looked like it was going to miss at the very end? Yeah, because they showed it from the rear view, right? So it kind of curved to the end. It curved to the end, and I was like, okay, is it going to miss? Is it going to miss? But then I saw the freaking referees puts his hands up. I was like, oh, great. That sucked. Yeah, it's such a heartbreaker to have that. Well, honestly, we kind of deserve to lose at the end because we didn't put the team away when we should have. But even as much as we want to win, it's just hard to stomach such a loss. We got Corey Davis says 4th and 6, and 4th and 6. I blame on Kyle. We should have punted the ball. Hindsight is 20/20, but hey, in general, maybe we should have just did that. Of course, yeah. 4th down usually punt.
You know what? I'm not mad at Kyle going after that. It was 4th and 1. At 4th and 6, if you're punting, you're trying to get momentum back because the game was shifting at that moment. And if we had made that 4th down where he had actually made that pass to Ayuk, that gets the momentum right back to us and takes Tennessee out of the game. So I admire him for going after it. It was even the right play call. But time and time again, the right play call with Jimmy G at quarterback doesn't necessarily produce results.
And I did forget to mention, you might have it down in your notes. Forgot how many yards it was. I lost it in the scoring summary when I was looking at the scoring summary. But Debo had an amazing play.
That was
the 56 yards, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, on 2nd and 10 at the 38-yard line. And that was the one where Debo would, after he got tackled, I think he was just so gassed that he had to take a breather. And then soon after we threw it to Ayuk. Yeah, I forgot to mention that was the big, huge play that led to the Ayuk. And it's like when you look at Debo's stat line, not Debo's stat line, Jimmy G's stat line, the QB rating over the past few weeks when we were winning those games, sure, it looks really good, but they don't take into account that that these huge rack yardage plays that we get on a consistent. It's not like we just get it, once every 3 or 4 games or once every 5 games. It's literally every game where we have these explosive rack yards, plays, which is a bit of a staple of the West Coast offense. Back when we had Jerry Rice and John Taylor, they were excellent for that. And for a long time, we got away from that. For a long time, we didn't have that. But it's great to know that we do have that at our disposal right now. But it's almost like a liability because it's all we had to fall back on from time to time, But great for Debo to step up and make that huge play that set us up. There was a question in the chat by Don Suave for Super Dave that we got on the screen right now. Don Suave says, Super Dave, what's the chances Jimmy G is with us next season?
0. 0.
I'm with you on that one. And primarily because, obviously, we invested all those picks into Trey Lance. Another thing is we have players that we have to re-sign. I mean, Debo's contract's coming up. Bosa's contract's coming up.
Bosa's going to be the priority first, and then Debo.
And I think Laken Tomlinson's contract is coming up this offseason too, right? The guard?
He is. And then you still got to address the secondary.
Exactly. We have to sign secondary, possibly another offensive lineman. Certain players fill certain holes before the draft. So, and obviously, we trade, if we're able to trade Jimmy, boom, we get another draft pick. So, which helps us a bit.
I'm just looking forward to the money being gone. You combine him and D Ford and possibly Grimace. That's almost That's almost $50 million right there, in addition to the $11 million we're supposed to have under the cap. So you can do some things with $60-something million.
You sure can, and I definitely see them doing that. And let's see, David McNew, what's up, dude? He says, "Hi Corey, Jimmy's interception can't hit the side of the barn from 5 feet away." Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, Don Swab had another question. That's what I was going to show up. Here it goes. He said, "Super Dave, who do you have in this year's Super Bowl?"
Oh wow. There's really no clear number one, so that's a hard one. But somehow history goes into it. So I would not be surprised if we see a Green Bay versus Kansas City Super Bowl. It would not shock me in the least.
So he's got Green Bay versus Kansas City. This is one year where the Super Bowl is just so hard to predict. I mean, this is the NFL season of parody, parity, but you could almost say it's parody, parody.
Pretty much.
It's a laughable, weird, unpredictable season.
Anytime a team looks like they are right there, they get an unexplainable, stupid loss. I mean, look at Arizona. You didn't think anybody was going to touch them, and then Detroit beats you.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you're Arizona, you think at one point they were saying Arizona's the best team in the league, and they get stomped by Detroit. Like, that's a huge eye opener. That's like a huge wake up call for that team. And early in the season, way early in the season, I just like Josh Allen a whole lot from Buffalo Bills. I saw the Buffalo Bills, and I was thinking, wow, this is my AFC team to go to the Super Bowl. And lo and behold, look at their record now. Our record's looking a bit more like our record. So
right.
Just like you said, every time you think some team is going to be the big hot dog, big shot team, just something out of the ordinary happens where they lose to some team that you would never expect them to lose to.
Oh, wow. I'm reading this.
Adam Figueroa is a guy who blames everything on Kyle Shanahan, by the way, and it's never Kyle's fault. It's always Jimmy G's fault. No, it's never Jimmy G's fault. It's always Kyle's fault with him. So he says, "Who will be our coach and GM next year?" Kyle's not going anywhere, guys. I'm telling you guys right now.
I still think they're going to be around next year, and the excuse is Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo is basically saving their job for them.
Okay, so, when they made this, it's not like Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch just said, hey, let's just woke up one day and said, hey, let's just trade all picks for Trey Lance and call it a day and play it by year. We're gonna, oh yeah, just play Jimmy G for the season, and like they have this huge, gigantic plan that they drew up. And when they draw up those plans, Parag Marache's in those meetings, even Jay Works possibly in those meetings, and like Adam Peters, and it's this huge like plan that they have set for a few more years. It's a long term plan, is what I'm trying to say. So, and Nick from Nothing But Niners said it best. He said it this way: the moment Trey Lance is designated as the full time starter, that's when Shanahan's clock starts running.
Yes.
So he thinks he has about a 2 to 3 year window at that point in time once Trey Lance becomes a full time starter. And if you take a step back and think about it, it makes a whole lot of sense.
It does. We are in total agreement there.
Yeah, so David McNew says, Super Dave, do you have any free agent cornerbacks in mind? I don't know. Do you have anybody in mind? I don't know who's available, but
I don't at this time. I had a couple in mind coming into the season. We did not go after them. Marcus Lattimore was about to get dumped by New Orleans because his contract was way too big. New Orleans is in trouble. They're way over the cap for the next couple of seasons.
I'm sorry, but didn't New Orleans give Marcus Lattimore some huge extension at one earlier this year?
They parceled it out so it would be agreeable to their salary cap, yes, but they were scheduled to lose. COVID actually saved them. They were scheduled to lose several players, and because they didn't get the money on the open market, they came back on 1 year deals, pretty much like our secondary. So I would like to see us draft an actual corner. I think we could have gotten Trey Lance later in the first round and gotten somebody like an Asante Samuel in the second.
Yeah, everybody keeps saying we should have drafted Aaron Banks and had drafted Asante Samuel Jr. Samuel Jr. was a name that I wanted before the draft because I did a whole bunch of mock drafts and I read a bit about him, saw a few of his videos. But I'll be honest, since he's been in the NFL, I haven't seen him play in an NFL game, so I can't really say.
I have. I live in Los Angeles, so I see the Chargers on a regular, and he's doing outstanding. You combine him and Derwin James, the safety, that's a very good tandem there. They've got a pretty good secondary for the Chargers do. What they don't have outside of the other Bosa is a consistent pass rush.
Same with us. Yeah. Imagine had we had the two Bosa brothers.
Oh yeah, that'll never happen.
Yeah. I mean, I've been saying this a whole lot about D'Amico Ryans, and I'm going to keep saying it. A lot of people didn't, especially I know Grant Cohn was kind of critical about him going to the season just because he was kind of playing devil's advocate basically because we haven't seen him as a D coordinator yet. And he was trying to tell Niner fans that don't expect D'Amico Ryans to be a good D coordinator right off the bat. But my thing is just imagine how good D'Amico's defense can look with some solid corners playing, not this Josh Norman BS or not this, super green Ambry Thomas, stuff that we got to deal with right now. And it sucks because Mosley is kind of a solid corner, even though he kind of irritates me too from time to time. But
yes,
imagine some solid corners and just one more consistent pass rusher. I'm not asking for an all-star opposite Bosa, but just one guy that you can kind of count on if Bosa's not getting home. And I think D'Amico Ryans' defense can be like a top 5 defense.
Now I can see us trying to pick up one more pass rusher in free agency just to pair, because the problem is who's going to go with Bosa each and every year. We've had Arden Key. He showed up at times. Ebukam starting to get his foot in the door there, but just one more to get in there so that we don't have to entertain the tweener as Armstead rotating in and out. He can just concentrate on being inside, and then our defense will be set next year. The one thing I'm not worried about is linebacker.
Yeah, linebackers is, as much as I love Greenlaw. It sucked that he got hurt earlier this year, but Aziz definitely stepped right in and just said, hey, I'm ready to play. Look at me. And some people were like, oh, he's doing better than Fred Warner. And over the past few weeks, Fred Warner has stepped up a bit too. He's looked pretty good, so which is good to know. Adam Figueroa says, never forget that coach put up only 10 points, gave up 17 unanswered, only 7 points in the second half, LOL.
Nope, we haven't forgotten that. That's what we're talking about. Putting teams away when you have a chance. Again, it should have been 21-0 at the end of the first half. And then the 7 points is 28. You don't worry about this field goal at the last second.
So, Adam, is it you don't think it's Jimmy G's fault that we only put up 10 points in the first half? I honestly, if you look at how many times we made that Tennessee Titans punt in the first half, we should have put up way more points than 10 points in the first. So it's the coach that makes poor plays when he that doesn't convert on third downs, huh?
The coach doesn't.
Kyle Shanahan's playing quarterback.
The coach doesn't throw balls into coverage in the end zone for an interception. The coach also doesn't miss a wide open wheel route, which would have gotten us 7 more points. That's not on Shanahan. That's strictly on Jimmy Garoppolo. For anybody to say otherwise, they really haven't been paying attention.
I've been saying this for a long time. I was saying it last year because I noticed it last year too. But if you ever watch the all 22s, if you can, from time to time, there's certain people that do film breakdowns. Every now and then, you don't have to see the all 22s because certain replays of during the regular NFL broadcast will also show it too. There's always somebody wide open down the field in our offense. I haven't seen it this consistent for any other team I could even think of, but whoever you name, whoever that Debo Ayuk, whoever Kittle once in a while, maybe even Juwan Jennings once in a while. There's guys who are way open for huge plays down the field,
open down the field,
and we never air it out to those guys.
Nope.
Why is that?
Because he doesn't possess the arm strength or the acumen to even look for those guys.
I mean, where would you? I think of a mediocre coach or a mediocre play caller and put Jimmy G in that situation with guys who aren't able to make such plays with their legs after they catch. I mean, I don't see Jimmy G being as successful with the numbers that he put up the last few weeks. I just see him, almost towards the bottom of the barrel of the league, honestly.
Pretty much.
Those guys make plays with their feet the moment they catch a little pass. And, and every now and then he'll throw the pass in stride, which is good. And it's nice that he throws a pass in stride, but I mean, he's airing the ball out like 8 yards, 7 yards. It's like nothing all that impressive. Let's be honest about that.
And that's not going to get it done against playoff-ready teams.
A real playoff team, will find a way to stop that.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed it from time to time. There were some times that we were throwing short little passes in the third and fourth quarter, and it was like, they were expecting those balls to be thrown in the middle of the field, and one time they tried to throw to Kittle, and 2 or 3 guys were right there ready to tackle him right away.
Yes, indeed.
Super Day. Oh, Don Swab, another Kaepernick question. Yes, this last week. Okay, here we go. He goes, Super Dave, was Kaepernick better than Jimmy G? That's a different question. That's a whole different animal.
Oh man, they're both one-read quarterbacks. But if you're talking in terms of extending the play or being able to do more, Cap had a better advantage. If we're talking particular touch on the ball, well, I can't even give Jimmy G that at this point. Yeah,
imagine Kaepernick in the situation that with the playmakers we have now. Now he did have Vernon Davis. He had Anquan Bolden. He had an older Anquan Bolden, but Anquan Bolden was still pretty damn good and solid. Crabtree was never explosive. He was a solid possession type receiver.
He was definitely a possession receiver.
But it would have been interesting to see. But the thing about Kaepernick and Jimmy G, which is almost comparable. They both almost have like a short shelf life. It's like, they were good for a certain period of time, but they both never got better. That's kind of how I see them. But of course, Jimmy's not Jimmy, but Colin Kaepernick's attributes were in certain ways were way better than Jimmy's. I mean, obviously he had a rocket of an arm. He was way more mobile in the pocket.
But they defeated their thing. When his read wasn't there, he always ran. Everybody knew it, so they were ready for that. Jimmy can't run and can't seem to throw the ball away. So either way, I think they're 50-50.
Yeah. Okay, so Tommy Huxley, people are going back and forth in chat. Tommy Huxley says Jimmy is to blame 100%. The defense held the title. I don't know what he said. The title, I don't know what it means. The Titans. Okay, so Titans
Titans.
at 20 points after turnovers. They played fine. Yeah, there were times where the defense was doing pretty damn good, and then certain times they broke. But my argument is the offense has to keep the defense off the field from time to time, and we weren't doing that.
Especially not in the second half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it sucked because I was hoping for Elijah Mitchell to play in this game. Not that Wilson did bad or anything like that, but obviously, Elijah Mitchell, in my opinion, is he's a home run hitter. He'll give you that home run threat.
And there's another question they got to answer next season. If Mostert fully rehabilitates, do you bring him back on a 1-year deal? And if you do so, do you start him or do you start Mitchell?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like it almost matters who doesn't start. I guess they start Raheem Mostert out of seniority, if assuming he's healthy and comes back to play. Some people are willing to just write Mostert off completely. I'm okay to give him one more chance. It just sucks that we see this guy explode in the Green Bay playoff game and look amazing. And then in the Super Bowl, he looked pretty good the first half, didn't get the ball as much second half. And then from that point on, we've only seen him, in like 2 or 3 more games? I mean, it sucks. I mean, you're excited about this player that we discovered who had been an NFL journeyman and bounced around to like 8 or 9 different teams over a span of 8 or 9 years. And, we're excited to use this guy and get him going in our offense, and we can't even use him. Great that we drafted Mitchell. We do have Trey Sermon in the mix coming up. Obviously, he's a completely different style runner, but in my opinion, as long as they knock on wood, if they are able to get Mostert back and he's able to be like 90% of what he was or 95% of what he was, and even if he does start, I just want them to alternate those guys back and forth and almost split the carries. I just don't want one guy to be the workhorse. We don't have any guy who's ever been built to be a workhorse. It's like our guys will be good, have like 3 or 4 good games or 5 games straight, maybe good, and then boom, they'll get injured and then somebody else has to take over.
You got to go all the way back to Frank Gore for a solidified, really workhorse of a running back for this organization. I would give Mostert the start because as much as I like Mitchell, when both backs hit the hole, there's just a big difference between when Mostert hits it and when Mitchell hits it.
Oh yeah, when Mitchell's really good on the outside and he has that burst, but it's just a different story with Mostert now. If he's going to be that same guy coming back, we don't know yet. We'll see if he's able to come back.
That's the thing.
And it was nice, and that's why they were using Debo on those outside runs too, because he kind of had a little bit of that burst that Mostert had. No, not completely like Mostert, but he had a little bit of it in him. Yeah. From time to time, you get close. So we're definitely over the hour mark. Okay, so Tommy Huxley says, I think Mostert is gone. I didn't think I was going to be on here in an hour because I was just totally winging it. I didn't have any questions written up or anything, and we're going to be going to Houston Texans. Are we playing Houston at home or is it going to be
at home? Last home game.
Okay. So last home game, yeah, and that's a game we should definitely win, but. You know how our team is. Like I said in the beginning,
anything.
It's the day after New Year's too. We don't. Who knows how much our players may party the night before? So,
right.
Yeah. Yeah. So before we go though, can you just give everybody in the audience just an idea of what Real Talk Niner Talk's all about, and and just talk about yourself a bit? Yeah.
Sure. We're more of a barbershop type style podcast. It's the 5 of us, 6 of us, going through the events of what happened that game. We're not afraid to call anybody out. So if you're a Jimmy G fan, just be warned. He's going to be talked about. We do this to all the players. If there's a bad performance, we're going to call them out. When they do well, we'll give them their praise too. We're on every Wednesday, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, every Saturday for the pregame, same time on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, and all other streaming platforms. Occasionally, we will have guests. Bashar, you are welcome back with us at any time.
I've never been on there before, actually.
Yeah, you have.
No, I've never been on Real Talk Niner Talk.
Well, you got to hit us before the end of the season there.
Yeah, I should. Before the end of the season, I got to get on there somehow.
And then
I've been in the chat room. I've been on the chat. Yeah.
Oh yes, and we encourage questions throughout the chat. We'll try and answer as many as we can there. Try not to leave anybody out there. And we like working with other streams, such as we've been frequent guests on this one, and we share the wealth there because we're all fellow faithfuls at the end of the day, and we just want to see the team do well.
I'm back. Yeah, so check their show out because it's not only informative and not only full of opinions, but they do a lot of there's a lot of laughs on there, a lot of comedy, a lot of funny sound effects going on. You'll hear like certain little music, hip hop references going on, and it's this whole different version of a 49er broadcast that you've never seen before. I try to make my broadcast, not that I go out my way to do it, but I think my broadcast is a little bit different than everybody else's, and theirs is definitely different, and they got plenty of personalities on there and plenty of knowledgeable people on their show, without a doubt. So I just go ahead.
You won't forget any of us once you see us.
Oh yeah. You guys are a lot of fun to watch. I mean, you got. I mentioned the rundown earlier, but I'll say it again. We got Don, the host, Niner Star, who's kind of like a I don't know, almost like what's that guy? Who's the guy from Soul Train? Don Cornelius, kind of like a Don Cornelius of the Niner Empire, with a little bit of I don't know. He just keeps it real. He's a total straight shooter. He doesn't pull any punches or anything like that. You got Will on there, who's just he's got a short fuse from time to time, and he'll go off about things that he doesn't like. And Drew's pretty chill and laid back. You're always the voice of reason, you could say. Silverado Kev's on there. He's got his own little funny remarks, and then the new girl on there, Red Jet Shell. So it's a great cast of characters. Oh yeah, you guys recently had that cartoon drawn up for you guys.
Don't forget D Sizzle as well.
Oh, D Sizzle, yeah. So
it's the comedy there.
Yeah. So good buddy of mine that ran to some of the tailgates a few years back, and he's just a barrel of laughs. The guy's hilarious. I have one of his shout out videos on my channel too. Oh, nice. Roberto Young Creeper says, your podcast is great, Bashar. Enjoy your podcast and your energy, bro. I try, man. I didn't think I was going to have energy. I didn't think I was even going to do a damn show today because I was so angry and I was so mad. And I hit up Dave at the last minute. Dave wasn't sure I was going to even do a show when I was hitting him up, and he kind of boosted up my confidence to get on here. So, and we got Don Swab says, this was a good show on the fly, BZ. I really, really appreciate it. With that said, thank you to everybody who showed up in the chat. It's unfortunate we lost. 17-20. I wish I could come on here in brighter spirits, and wish we could come on here after a win. But you're not going to win every single game.
Nope.
And the Warriors did win tonight, right? Who the Warriors?
Yes,
play?
they did. They beat Memphis finally.
Okay, good. Ja Morant's pretty.
Curry had 46. He went
wow. I gotta catch the highlights. I haven't been standing Warrior games this whole season actually. And if I did miss one, I missed like one or two actually, and I'd watch the highlights. Right. Little bright spot of Barry His Sports, just to know that your team's always going to be in the running to win now. Niners, here and there we win, but then we lose some too. We got Elias Lopez says Dubs Warriors. Tommy Huxley says Dubs are Lakers. Yeah, so go Niners and definitely go Warriors. Again, thanks to everybody in the chat. I'm gonna try to be on here. I'm gonna have a special guest coming up in a few days. It's either gonna be on Sunday or Monday. When I do have a set in stone, I'll put like a little thing on my page that will just say who that guest is going to be. I might have it posted early on my Instagram. For those of you guys who don't know, you can always follow me on Instagram. It's 49er Minded on Instagram. There's a 49er Minded Facebook group, 49er Minded on Twitter. And again, if you want to follow Super Dave the OG, the video description has his social media, has his Twitter, has their Real Talk Niner Talk YouTube page. Again, thank you for coming on, Dave. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Really appreciate it, Dave.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome, man. I had you on before one time last minute. It's always a ton of fun. I'll probably try to get you on one time during the week where I can ask you all my little crazy and fandom questions, because I love to ask those type of fun questions to Niner fans. And as we say, thanks again for watching 49er Minded, where we get into the minds of 49er fans. Keep repping those 49ers and stay 49er Minded. Peace! Let's go Niners. Come on, 49 people, let's get it.
Because it's 49er Mind.
Gotta do this one time for the Empire.
It's 49 in mine. It's 49 in mine.
We gotta get that brick by brick real quick.
49 in mine.
Yeah, area. Yo, we can't listen to them haters, man.
49 in mine.
We from the Bay.
49 in mine.
We them San Francisco 49ers.
49 in mine.
We got that red and gold blood inside us.
49 in mine.